Hello, welcome to this tutorial. I'm Morris Dimba, and today I'm going to take you briefly on how to create a petrol station in Tekla structures, and we'll get started right away. If you take a look on the screen, you can see some work already done, and I'll just take you briefly on what was done and how it was done and how you can do it and where to access the tools that can make your work very simple and quicker and a little bit enjoyable while doing this. Let me just come to navigate and we can rotate this. You can see whatever we've done or I have done. We have the palettes in place, and remember we have a template. If you can be able to download this model, you'll be able to get this template, and you'll be able to access these parts that they are customized or user defined, and you can apply them to your model. Or the moment you download this, you'll be able to work within this environment, and you'll be able to access all these parts. Let me just double click just to show you whatever it's inside here. So once I've clicked here, I'll go to profile catalog. Inside here, you'll be able to see that we have variety of customized or user-defined parts. We have the Eve gutters here. This one comes automatically the moment you pick on it. So we just try one and you see how this behaves, but this is not the appropriate way to do it. And I'll just go ahead and click apply and give it an OK, and click OK that, and you'll be able to see that part changing to a particular component or part. You can see it has changed. You can see it has changed to a particular part. This is a Eve gutter. We've changed that to Eve gutter, but we don't want to place the Eve gutter here. I'm just taking briefly on how on available user-defined parts that are available on this template. If you can be able to download these in CivilMax, you'll be able to get all this, and you'll be able to apply this on your model instead of doing them on your own to reduce your time in modeling. So I'll just go ahead and undo that so that we get back where we were before, and I'll redraw this and to remove those signs of modifications. Now if I zoom out, we also have the anchor rods, not anchor rods, the sag rods here. We have the sag rods that holds our pilings in place to avoid the wobbling. You can see here, I can double click on it and you'll be able to see it here. So we have this plugin inside the CivilMax, and you can download that and apply it on your model. And also, if I'll repeat once again, if you can be able to download this model, you'll be able to use all these templates to make your work easier. So you can see that at the end of our pilings here, we've attached them to this cantilever that will be holding our badge flashings that will be applied along the edge of our canopy. So you can see these girders already in place. So first of all, let me just finalize with the connections of the pilings. At the end here, you can see we have a cleat there connected there, we have a cleat there connected to pilings, we have a cleat there, and we have a cleat here. And you can also see at the end of our valley gutter, you can see we have a plate at the end here just to create a stopper for water flow, just to restrain the flow, not to move out of the defined path that is called the valley gutter there. Now we have this in place, and I can show you this at the end here. You can see at the end here we have a different connection of our gutter of our piling. You can see that. Perfect. And you can see also at this end we have also another girder. You can see the connection to the other, and also you can see how this is attached to the beam on top here. You can see that this is how I've done it. And also if you go to the slope, defining the slope of the roof of this canopy of the petrol station, instead of playing with the slope of the roof using the cantilever, or using the slope of the cantilever, or sloping the cantilever beam here, we've just adjusted the heights of all these cleats that holds the piling on top of these beams. So these cleats heights are different, just to define or create a slope for our pilings, so that when we lay the sheets, the sheets will follow the slope, and water will be able to flow nicely or without any problem to our valley-gutter here, and will be drained all the way to the ground or to the drainage system through these downspout or down pipes here. So along this valley-gutter, we have also the gutter straps that helps us in connecting the two valley-gutters. You can see how they have been connected right here, and it sits on top of a member here, just an angle line, or RSA welded on top of this beam, just to suspend or to provide a seating for our valley-gutter on top there. So that's how it's created, and this model will be uploaded on Civmax, and you'll be able to download everything there at your own time there. So this will be available in Civmax, and you can download, and once you download, you'll be able to get the template, and you'll be able to access the profile or user-defined profile inside there, and it will make your work easier. And also remember, the plugins are also available there. Now let me just turn this around, and we go at the bottom end here. You'll be able to see also the purlins around here at the bottom end here that will be holding the sheets that will be defining our ceiling for this canopy at the bottom end here. You can see that. You can see the connection here, connected on top or connected with our girder. So along the girder, we've managed to weld a trimmer or a cleaner angle attached to this girder, just to provide a connection for our purlins at the end here. So you can see how we've trimmed the end of these purlins using a trimmer or a cleaner angle here. You can see that. So the same applies to the opposite side also. Opposite side. So today, after that, I'm going to show you how we can create a badge board along these girders. Just to create add some aesthetic, or to cover our structure, or to give it a more presentable shape than the look of skeleton or all these structures. Now I'm going to use a badge board here. I'll double click on that. I'm just using this as a default member. I'll apply and give OK, and I'll go all the way to steel, and come to steel beam here, and I'll come from that spot and stretch all the way to this far end here, and place it right there, and we'll have this in place. So instead of doing that, let's use a different direction. We'll start it from this end. We'll start it from that end and stretch all the way to this far end here, just to define the length of our badge flashing. Now I'll turn it around like that, and what I'm going to do, I'll just pick it straight away. Or double click on it and position it by picking this option, and take it to middle, or take it to left or right. That is the position, but it's way off the position that we wanted it to be on. So what I'm going to do, I'll just click on it, right click, and come to move, and snap on that spot. If I cannot snap on this corner, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a point. I'll come to point here, edit, and pick point in position, and try to snap on this spot and try to look for a point here. I've got that point. Now I'll select on this component now, and come to move and snap there and bring it somewhere there. We have our badge in place and slightly clashing with the part that we intend to connect it to, and this is the girder. So what we are going to do, just press Ctrl 2 so that you can be able to see through this component. I'll come to navigate, and I'll turn that like this. Then come close and bring it close, and come to navigate and pick the rotation point on that spot. We'll be able to turn it around like that, and we can be able to see that we need to offset it with a 2mm offset. So I'll press Ctrl 4 just to make everything opaque or not transparent. Then I'll click on it, right click and come to move. I'll come to move here, move special and pick linear. Then check the position or the direction of XYZ axis. I'll change this to 0. So we are going to work with the x-axis but in the opposite direction. So we'll feed in here 2 mm, and click OK, like that. And you can see the one remaining now at the top end here, and this one can be easily dealt with, and you can just pick it and place it right there. So this is how it will look. This is how it will look on this side. On this side we have our badge flashing in place. Click on empty screen and come to navigate, and you'll be able to rotate this and check whether what you've done is correct. And at my end, and in my case this is correct, and you can change it further if you intend to, or if you intend to meet your requirements. So this is the first section, and the second section we are going to do is here. Let me double click on that also to default on it, then come here and we'll come to steel here and come to steel beam right there, and pick points where we intend to place our badge flashings. Now this should start right here. This should start right here, and instead of starting it right there, we can just start it right here just to create a better connection. Or what we can do prior to creating that, we'll select on this member, then we want to mirror it on the other end because we don't want to do a similar thing a similar thing twice. Now to do that, we'll come to, once you've selected on that member, come to view here, come to work plane tool here, pick work plane tool to change your XYZ plane, and we can place it anywhere here as long as it is in the right position. I can place it right there. So we'll look at the middle. We'll define a mirror line for this. So I'll right click once I've selected on that, and come to special copy and come to mirror. So I'll select the middle point of this structure, which might be here, which not might be here, it is here, and I'll snap on that and go all the way to that bottom end and click copy and try to see whether this will be copied the other end. And actually it has been copied the other end, but in the right position. So this is how it looks. So we are free to create a badge flashing at this end. Now I'll come to steel, then I'll pick on the beam and I'll snap right here and move all the way to this end here and snap right here. So this is how it looks, but this is not what you expect to do. Just double click on it, then come to position and rotate this to below, and this is how it will look. And once you've done that, you can see slightly it's off the intended position. So what we are going to do, it's very simple, just double click on it and we'll move this on the Z axis. We'll move this on the Z axis by 2 mm. We'll come to move special, then come to Z axis. We'll change this to 0, then come to Z axis positive, then press 2, then you can be able to click on that. So this clash it can be trimmed off. You can cut out that, then cut out at the bottom end there. That's upon you if you want to use, but I can show you how to cut it out. You come to edit, then select the polygon, select on it, then snap on that end. And if your snap is not responding, create the points. Come to points, pick any point, and if you can't get it, pick a point that responds and create point locations here. I'll create a point here and create a point here. So I want to cut out this part that clashes with this. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you one, then the rest you can do by yourself. Then I'll come to polygon, cut, then I'll select the part I want to cut out, select on that, then snap on this point, go all the way to that point right here, and come all the way to this location, and I'm defining the points to be cut out on this particular badge flash or a plate. So this is how it looks, and this is not this is not what I expected to be trimmed off, but the same way it works much better. You can add a member here at the bottom end here just to close that gap. So just what to do is just redraw and you get rid of everything. So let me just undo that so that we close everything here. I'll come to navigate and I want to rotate this. If I rotate this, you can be able to see that this is what we have in this particular case. So we are going to change our XYZ plane so that we mirror this on the other end. So I'm going to select on it, right click and come to special copy here and pick linear. And that is not the next, we've jumped a step. A step is we need to reorient our XYZ plane, which is here. So I'll press escape, then come to work plane tool, and I'll place my work plane tool somewhere there. So I'll come here to select that member, right click and come to interrupt. I'll select it once again. I'll select it once again, right click and come to special copy, then I'll come to mirror. Then I'll try to locate a midpoint. I'll use this midpoint as my mirror line, then I'll snap right there, move all the way to the bottom end here just to define a mirror line right there, then click OK and give it OK there, then check whether what we've done is right, perfectly right. Then we'll turn that round, and this is exactly what we have. So we've created the badge flashings, and this can be modified further to meet your requirements. This is not the final, and we are now going straight to placing the sheets on top here. We are going to do a sheeting for our canopy. So this is how it looks. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to mark the points where my sheets will be laid on, or from point to point where my sheets will be stretching from end to. I'll come to any points here, and I'll just snap on that spot. Let me just snap somewhere here and somewhere there, and I'll come right there and come to move spatial and come to linear, and I come to Z axis or Y axis here in this particular case, because we changed we reoriented our XYZ position, so that that is the case where you are seeing Y is facing up. Now I'll move this, or I'll move this by 50 or 20 millimeter up, 20 millimeter up right there. So that's okay, and we can also add another 5, make it 25 right there. So I'll select on it, come to a special copy, and we are playing with the height of our sheet here. I'll come to X-axis, and I'll prefix my dimension with a negative sign, and I'll feed a 50 millimeter right there. In this particular case, I'll get rid of this, and I'll get rid of this number of copies and change that to 1 instead of 0, and I'll be able to click OK. You can see it on that location. And the same, I want to define, slightly change where my sheeting will start from, though this, as I told you, is only adjustable, or is only defined by the height of our cleats that varies from one to another. All the cleats heights are not the same. Reason being is they are in that place, they're in that way to define the slope of our purlins, which also defines the slope of our sheets. So let me come to points here once again, and come to point here, and I want my sheet to start from this end. Snap on that spot, and I'll just a slight slope here, and come to move here, and come to near, and I'll come to Y. I'll click move, and move it somewhere there. Perfect. And slightly high. Perfect. We can place it there. There, it's okay. Then once I've done that, I'll come to I'll come to beam. And prior to coming to beam, I want to take my XYZ plane to a default position here. I'll come to work view, I'll come to work plane tool here, and I'll place my work plane tool to a default position there. Then I'll come to steel, I'll come to beam, I'll snap on that spot and stretch all the way to this particular location right there, and this is what we have. I'll double click on it to bring it to the left, and this is where we want it to be on. And what I'm going to do right here, I'm going to select a different profile that will be our sheet. Now I'll come to attributes, I'll come to under profiles in beam properties, I'll come to next to select. Then this will take me to profile catalog. Inside here I'll be able to work with the preferred profile catalog. In this case I have my own user defined catalog. I'll come to user defined, then zoom out, and I'll come to IBR, or I'll use superclad right there, and click OK, then click modify, apply, and give it an OK. So you can see the direction it is taking, which is not good, and this one should not worry you. You just play with the positions. And on beam properties, what you do, you come to rotation here and click below, and that will come up right there, and come to navigate and try to turn this round, and you'll be able to see the iron sheet is slightly on top of the gutter, clashing, though it should be on top of the gutter, but it's clashing with the gutter. So what we do, you just double click on it once again, come to position here, and come to front and put in that position, click apply and accept that. So far end here, you can see also there's a clash with our girder that holds the badge flashing. So we'll shift it slightly with the millimeter. So what we're going to do, you just select on this, come to move. We'll give it a slight move from that spot to this spot by maybe 10 or 50, maybe 10 millimeter right there, and we'll be off that member. And that's okay. So this is not okay because water flow will not be that good from the sheets. So we need to turn this sheet to a better position. Double click on it, come to position, rotate this, give it back. Give it back, or front. Top. This is now okay. We can go ahead and apply, and this is what we want, and we can come to navigate and turn this round like that. This is exactly what we wanted. So in this particular case, we are going to populate this along this length. So what I'm going to do prior to that, we have to mirror this to this end, so that when we populate it, it becomes much easier, because the same sheets will be on this end, so we don't need to do one job twice. Now once you've done that, we want to reorient again our XYZ plane. We'll come to work plane tool, we'll come to navigate. No, that's not the best process. You come to work plane tool here and pick it under work plane, and we'll place our XYZ axis. Then we'll come to mirror. Then we want to mirror this. We'll use this point as our mirror line. We'll snap on that spot and straight all the way to the bottom end here. Make sure you snap on the straight line right there and click OK, copy. So we have it here. So what we're going to do is just select on this sheet, select on that, and first of all, prior to doing that, kindly check the length or the width of our sheet. We'll come to edit and come to distance and pick from that spot and zoom out and check this length or this width. This is 937.6 down here, 937.6. So this is the dimension we are going to use to populate these sheets on top of our canopy. So once I've selected on these, I'll select on that. I'll right click and come to special copy here and click and pick linear. So be careful here, check the axis you intend to populate these sheets along. We are going to use the z-axis because in here you can see the y-axis pointing up, the x-axis is pointing on our right side. So the z-axis pointing at us. So we'll get rid, we'll change the x-axis to 0, the y-axis also to 0. Then the z-axis is where we'll feed in the measurement, which is 939.6 right there, and it's positive. We'll not prefix the dimension with any negative sign. And how many do we want? We want around 32 right there, around 32 or 33. We just give it 31. So we'll go ahead and click copy and we'll click OK. We can expand. It's gone beyond what we expected, and we can do that. Then come back again, select on that, right click and come to special copy, click on that, then change this to 28, and we'll go ahead and click OK. Click OK. 28, still more. So what you do, just delete whatever you don't want. Just delete whatever you don't want. Just delete whatever you don't want, and the one remaining will be trimmed off to meet, will be trimmed to match what we want. So here what I'm going to do is just to trim this part off from this point. I'll come to edit here and come to points. I'll define my points here. I'll snap on that spot. Let me just cut it using that line. I'll come to edit, pick on that, select on that, and run all the way to this far end here and snap here. Then click the side you intend to trim off. That's the side we intend to trim off. So instead of doing the same thing here, just select on that and delete, and select on this member. Then right click and come to special copy, then click mirror. Then we'll just mirror that to this end. Select on that, snap on that spot, then move all the way to the bottom end here and snap right there and click copy. So you'll find you've taken that member to this end. So if you come to view, navigate, and you rotate this, you can be able to see it is the best position. So that's how it looks. Now we'll get rid of this because these were just points to guide us, or members to default on, instead of going to user defined catalog to look for them. Now I'll come to navigate and rotate this, so you can see our sheets already on top. So if you take a look at the bottom end here, you can be able to see that we have our sheets on top, and that's how it looks on the bottom end here. Perfect. So at the bottom end here also we'll place the sheets that will be acting as our ceiling, just for aesthetic purposes, just to block this bottom end, just to create a ceiling. And also these columns will be covered with plates, so that you don't see the column, you just see the sheets, or the sheets covering the columns, taking the shape of a column. So this is how it looks. And now if you let me come here and just zoom out and take you to top, and here we have our valley gutter in place. So remember, this is just a 2mm sheet, and remember, if there's a heavy flow of rain, remember it can be forced to be flat, or water kind of a flow, because so what we normally do, we stiffen this valley gutter with these rods. So we have a rod in the center here, so I'll just select on it once it has been welded, or we can weld it straight. Once it's there, we'll come to steel here and we can weld it straight here. pick create weld, and we can weld it to that, weld that to that, to that. So we've created a weld, so you can see the weld. So we want to populate this along this end, so I'll select on this just to stiffen our valigator. Then I'll come to special copy, pick linear, and I'll come to z-axis, and I'll prefix this dimension with a meter, and I'll go ahead and click and click and feed in there 28. Click OK, and click don't expand, and check whether we've gone beyond what we're supposed to. It's okay, and the rest we can just delete. We can just delete that. We delete that so that we remain with this. So we have these in place, and we can rotate this and take a look on what we've done. This is what we've done, and we can change the view when we come to perspective view, and you can turn that, and this is what we have. This is what we have, and this is how it looks inside this valigator. So we can just walk inside this like water, so that we see how this valigator looks like. So if you turn that round, you can be able to also see the bottom end here, how this looks. So this is how it looks. So thanks a lot for watching this video, and if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to subscribe, and let's meet then. We are not yet finished, and we will move step by step till you finish. And remember, this model has been already finished and will be uploaded on CivilMax, but this is a tutorial step by step that will take you to the final end, and it will be available on CivilMax for download. And thanks a lot once again. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm always Dimba, and bye bye.